Alright everyone, Tuesday and a brand new transfer name for us to chat about today, and it's not a goalkeeper, plus a long-awaited official Celtic fans survey. Yes! Celtic, let's go! Yeah, we'll do the transfer stuff first. Late last night, a report, once again, from Scott Burns at the Daily Record, saying we have launched a transfer raid. Yeah. For Dara O'Shea, the Republic of Ireland international centre-back. So, what does this report say? Well, it says that we want to sign him. Brendan Rodgers wants to sign O'Shea. We've even made an approach to his current club, Burnley. However, it's likely to take a, quote, major bid to sign him. That's because Burnley paid £7 million to West Brom for O'Shea last summer. A Burnley source said to have told Record Sport that O'Shea remains a major player for them, and any decision taken on his future won't be made until they appoint a new manager. They're still trying to replace Vincent Kompany, who left to go somehow to Bayern Munich a couple of weeks ago. So Burnley managerless, and that may kind of slow down any Celtic move for O'Shea. Now, I believe he is right-footed. However, he can play on either side of central defence. He's also played at right-back earlier in his career. Listen, I'll be honest, I've actually not seen a great deal of him. It may come as a shock to you. I don't tend to watch Burnley too often. I've probably seen him play a few times for the Republic of Ireland, but I've kind of been focused more on like Mikey Johnson and Adam Ida and Liam Scales and guys like that. So I genuinely couldn't tell you much about him. Maybe some of you will have seen a bit more of him than me. One thing that I was told about earlier, and I've done a bit of digging into, is his apparent speed. Yes, he's apparently extremely quick. An article from Squawka, I believe, which is titled Fastest Premier League Players by Position 2023-24, has O'Shea down as the second fastest defender in the Premier League, behind only Mickey van de Ven, who's pretty well known to be absolutely flying. O'Shea is said to have a top speed of 36.73 kilometres an hour. I don't really know how fast that is. I prefer if they gave us like a 100-metre time or something like that. But he clearly is very quick, has a lot of recovery pace, and I think that's something Brendan Rodgers likes in his central defenders. It may be what has gone against Gustav Lagerbielke. I remember one of his first games against St Johnstone at Celtic Park, just seeing him on the turn, chasing after somebody. It might have been Stevie May, and he looked like he was towing a caravan. So, yeah, I think Rodgers probably doesn't like that about Lagerbielke, the fact that he's not particularly quick. I think, I've said previously, I think there was something similar with Eric Sviatchenko in his first spell at the club. And it's obviously very important having pace at the back. It allows you to play a more aggressive game plan if you know that you've got recovery pace if teams do get in behind you. So I think this is an interesting one to look at. It just seems to me like a fair amount of our transfer stuff so far this summer, like there's real complications there. The amount of players we've been linked with from clubs who don't have a manager at the moment, and we're waiting on these clubs appointing managers or managers taking a look at these players before we can make our move, or players just haven't recently moved to the club and now we're going to likely have to pay huge transfer fees to sign them. Complications, it's fair to say, in this deal. I think, the O'Shea stuff, it may happen, it may not happen. We've been linked with a couple of other defenders from memory so far this summer. Chris Mepham was one. Flavius Danilic, you may remember as well. They've all been linked with moves to Celtic with pretty big fees alongside them in the report. So it seems, reading between the lines, like it is a real position that Celtic want to add quality this summer and really find a strong partner for Cameron Carter-Vickers. So that is promising. I don't need to remind anyone though that, another day has passed since we did one of these videos. We still have, I think, just under 5 weeks until our first competitive match of the season. So there's still time for Celtic to sign players. But, reports are one thing. I think it'd be really good if we could get a signing in over the next week and really just kind of boost everyone a bit, because there is a kind of growing frustration. I've seen it in the comments here. I've seen it over the Celtic Way doing videos there that people are generally just a bit kind of frustrated with the lack of movement. And I feel the same way. It's just about kind of pitching it in the right way though, because it is still relatively early in the window. But I think we're only maybe a couple of weeks away from suddenly people going, what the hell is going on at Celtic? So John Kennedy's comments last week, I didn't really get the impression that anything was imminent. He spoke about the next few weeks and hopefully stuff happening. It's just a bit frustrating as supporters seeing nothing happening here. But Dara O'Shea may be a name to keep an eye on. I certainly think we're going to sign a centre-back, but after the links to Mepham, O'Shea, Danilic for big money, I don't know. Welcome to Celtic, Scott McKenna. Right, in other news, today the club launched the Celtic Fans Survey 2024. Not sure if that means there's going to be a survey every year. I would doubt it, seeing as this is like the first one I can ever remember the club doing. The club say it is the biggest ever survey of Celtic supporters worldwide, commissioned by the club as part of our ongoing commitment to fan engagement. All right, it takes 25 minutes roughly to do. The club say it took me, to be fair, it took me about that time as well. After completion, you're entered into a prize draw to win a Celtic Adidas bundle. Great stuff. I've linked the survey in the description below, so if you fancy doing it, then give it a go. You don't even need to be a season ticket holder. I wasn't sure if that was going to be the case. Turns out you can do it. Anyone can do it, really. I don't think you even have to be a Celtic fan, because I'm sure there's a question asking, are you a Celtic fan, pretty near the start. It does start with questions about you, name, date of birth, etc. It then goes into the match day experience at Celtic Park. The first interesting question was, would you prefer a digital version of your season ticket to access Celtic Park using your mobile phone? Now, in 2024, I would say that certainly should be an option. I think it should be for season tickets. I've got less of an issue with season tickets because you've kind of just got a card and that's fine. Certainly for one-off match tickets, you should have the option to have it on your phone. It is just a complete shambles that, and I've not done this for a while, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you either still have to print a match ticket at home or have an actual ticket sent to your address for one-off matches. And again, in 2024, there must surely be a simple option to do it on your phone, and I just think that would make it a lot easier to transfer tickets to other people if you could just send them to someone rather than actually having to find a way to get an actual paper ticket to people. So yep, that's good. If they could do it for season tickets as well, again, the technology is there, make it happen. There was a rate the concourse catering bit. To be honest, almost everything could be rated as poor. There was a question about visiting a bar before matches. I, of course, would never do that. And also the question after that was about, would you visit the official Celtic bar? So they're obviously trying to ramp that up a little bit and find out information and people's views about that. Then there was the big one everyone was anticipating. If in the future the club was to consider installing further safe standing facilities at Celtic Park, subject to feasibility and other relevant factors, would you be interested in moving into a safe standing section at Celtic Park? Now, this is the first question. There's another one that we'll come on to in a wee second. This is the one that like the Green Brigade and the Boys and other kind of fans groups who are backing the Celtic end proposal that is still a thing, although we've not heard about it nearly as much. They are wanting people to show support for a further, increased standing section. And I remember actually speaking to the guy, I think from Celtic Shared, and he mentioned that this survey was going to be coming out soon. Now, it's been a bit delayed. That was probably a couple of years ago I spoke to him. But that's clearly what people up for the Celtic end want fans to say. They want fans to show support for this, and then it gives them a chance to go to the club and push for it and say that fans are in favour of this. There is a second question that reads: if in the future the club was to consider installing further safe standing facilities at Celtic Park, and given that the limited capacity at Celtic Park would most likely mean the conversion of an area of standard seats within the stadium, would you be open to your current seat being relocated to another part of the stadium to accommodate further safe standing facilities? And this is probably the bigger question than the one just before. Are you actually prepared to move? And I'm guessing a lot of people, rightly or wrongly, will look out for their own interests in this one. So again, it's going to be interesting to see the findings from that part. Are we going to get more safe standing at Celtic Park? Is the Celtic end ever going to become a thing? I really have my doubts, to be honest. I just don't think it is, but we'll wait and see what happens. Yeah, there was then stuff on the Paradise windfall. Talk about potentially like what would entice you to do that every week. Are you aware where the money goes? I was going to say like there was a question about making that digital. I feel like it is digital. I don't actually do the Paradise windfall ever, but I feel like they do it digitally. Maybe you'd be able to help there. It's hardly the biggest issue at the club. There's also stuff how fans get to and from Celtic Park, public transport, etc. Even a kind of question about what train station you get off at. Question on interest in women's football. Are you interested in women's football? I think was the question. How could we tempt you to go to more women's matches? Interest in pay-per-view streams. Where do you get your Celtic news from? Oh yeah. And of course I put down the correct response for that one. At least I got that one right for sure. In that section there was also a mention of an official club app, which I guess would be interesting. Some interesting ideas also on how Celtic TV could be improved. Yeah, some good ones there. I think historical matches would be a big one. And on-demand stuff. I think that'd be a big seller. I just think there's a huge opportunity there for the club to offer historical matches as part of the offering and just really improve the whole Celtic TV stuff. I'm a big user of Celtic TV, obviously being in Australia and watching games there. I'll be honest, I think a lot of it's pretty poor. I think the actual coverage can be all right. I just think the website itself, simple things like when I wake up in the morning and I've avoided the score to watch the game as if it's live. Like I need to get my girlfriend to sort the stream for me because there's a way I can basically tell if we won or lost. It's to do with what interviews they've had on. So I just don't think they're particularly serious about Celtic TV. They can surely do that a lot better. And yeah, I think offering stuff like historical matches and having a new platform for it would certainly be doable. Yeah, this question was just asking for it. In which areas would you like to see the club invest in the future? Yeah. The final question asks what you think Celtic stands for. And that's quite a deep question, isn't it? That's a pretty deep, meaningful way to end the survey. And it'll be interesting to see some of the findings and some of the answers that people put in there. And it'll also be interesting to find out whether the club will ever make any of this public, or even just kind of summarise some of the big things to come out of it. Because it's interesting to know, I think, how the Celtic fans feel. Because obviously you get various, flavours of that from social media and forums, but a number you often point out, in the comments that you don't use social media or you don't use forums. So it's interesting just to find out kind of everyone's viewpoint from whole different sectors and ages and preferences. How do people feel about Celtic and these key issues at the club? So it would be great if the club were able to make these findings public at some stage in some way. At the very least, I think it's positive that they're looking to the future and looking to get fans' thoughts. But I think it'll only be beneficial if they actually follow through on a lot of these ideas and actually do what fans want. There's no point in commissioning this survey if you're not actually going to listen to the fans. So I think, the survey's all well and good, but that's the really important bit. Take the fans' views on board and move that way, because Celtic is a club for the fans, more so than most clubs. We're the ones who effectively run the club through our ticket sales, and even if you don't go to games, and merchandise and Celtic TV and all of that stuff. I think there's a hell of a lot can improve at the club. I'll be honest in saying that. I think the best thing we have going for us at the moment, and have had for a number of years, is the first team and the winning that they've done. It's been incredible. I think at times that maybe masks some of the stuff going on at the club, and I'm not just talking about like player recruitment and all of that. I just think there's a lot of the club, from the match day experience to the kind of, as I say, the digital output, the infrastructure, that I think can be improved, and hopefully this is the start of the club looking to do that. Yeah, we'll wait and see. That's us for today. Listen, I really appreciate you all sticking with the channel. Things are a bit up in the air at the moment. I'm still in Scotland, as you know. From the middle of next week, we'll be going back to the 7 a.m. video, so I'm really kind of looking forward to getting back into that routine, and obviously things ramping up a bit with the new season. So I appreciate you sticking with things for now, and I'll be back tomorrow.